Welcome back. One of the best ways to find happiness is through food, and that is certainly my happy place. For me, cooking is the perfect counterpoint to what I do all day. It's a way to show love to my loved ones, and it's the only creative thing I can do with my hands that I'm any good at. So, with me now is chef and author Laura Calder, who is going to show us some recipes to help us find our kitchen bliss. Laura, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Well, actually, I was going to try to show how even with one recipe, we're going to make a potato, herb, and tinned fish salad. But before you get depressed, just think of those nights when you're alone and all you have is a tin of sardines and a potato. How can you make that into something that boosts your morale and makes you feel like a queen? You don't believe it can happen, but it can.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a pink shallot, first of all, and just, you don't have to chop it, actually, I could just slice it, but I've started. And instead of putting a pink shallot straight in, because it can be a bit acrid, I drop it in a bowl of vinegar. It doesn't have to be quite this much, but for a few minutes, I've got, and I'll just let that sit.
That's like a quick pickle.
I guess it's sort of, well, it takes the astringity out of it and it gives you just the right amount of acid you need.
And what kind of vinegar is that?
Red wine vinegar. Now, I want you to pick a plate because I think we should always take care in the way we present food, even if it's just to ourselves. So you have two options for mood. You can be in the garden with a glass of rosé, or you can be at the head of the grande table with a crystal goblet.
I'm in the garden.
You're in the garden. Good. Good choice. So normally these potatoes would be warm and I would boil them and peel them and it makes the salad feel somehow a little more comforting because you've got that heat, but these are cold because I had to do them without a stove. I'm just going to make a little bed here of potato slices. I won't need them all. I wanted to show you these tin sardines because people think of sardines and they think, ugh, so lowbrow. These are art sardines from France, where they have a tradition of painting each sardine can a little differently. So you get art in your kitchen cupboard. Packaging counts.
Yes.
That's why we need pretty things in our lives. So now, beautiful sardines. And I love sardines too, just on French bread toasted with butter, lemon juice, and a lot of mint thrown on top. So delicious with drinks. So remember that in the summer. I take the bones out. I don't know. Some people don't bother, but I don't like the texture of that spine. Okay, I'm just going to oops, I forgot to make, first of all, I'm a little muddled here. I'm going to take a bit of mustard. Maybe I'll mix it here with the oil. Normally in the kitchen, I'd mix it a little differently, but I'm at a table. So just a bit of Dijon mustard in the olive oil. And if these were warm, you see, you'd get the potatoes absorbing this little vinaigrette. So that's not going to happen here, but it would normally. So you just spoon that right on the potatoes, and there's going to be some more oil coming in a minute.
And would you put vinegar on that?
I don't, because there will be vinegar in the shallots.
Ah.
So I'm just going to put some sardine. Now, you put as much as you want. You can put 2, you can put 3, whatever. Maybe I'll just start with that. A few capers, whatever I'm forgetting. And then, because this also gives a bit of acidity. And I like herbs in everything. I'm a real addict, but you don't need to chop them up. You can use them almost more like a salad. And I also think happiness comes from the way we touch food, because we put our energy into every piece. So I'm careful not to tear at the leaves and be brutish. But I read something recently where someone said you should take a parental approach to all things, meaning like be motherly with your food. Treat it the way you would anything you loved. So that's a bit of a big leaf.
This looks good.
It starts to come together into something a little more elegant than you expected. Now, I love mint with tinned fish, and I might just give these leaves a bit of a slice. Because this way you get sort of a different taste in every
I can
single
smell
bite.
it from here, and
Mint
it's
is
lovely.
great. Some little flowers would be pretty too. And then, wait, the shallots. They might have sat a little longer, but I should strain them, but I'll just take a few out like this and scatter them over, pretty and pink. This is a 5-minute dish, by the way, as you can see, happening before your eyes.
It's already looking and smelling very inviting.
Yes, it is. And then the final touch before salt and pepper is just to put some lemon zest for some freshness. And all I forgot, and then salt and pepper, and I've made a bit of a mess of the plate. A little fleur de sel, which is a nice crunchy finishing salt. And if I had a little napkin, which I might have right here, I'm just going to dust off this plate because I'm working close to me. And so there, you have a pretty little 5-minute dish that deserves a glass of rosé. Don't you think?
That's just beautiful.
And it's
Thank you.
a perfect, healthy lunch. It's very satisfying and good for you. And I think dessert can be sometimes a big hassle to produce when you're trying to do a million other things. So something I do is sometimes a platter of oranges, which sounds really, really boring, but as you will see, it's not going to be. I call them Japanese oranges because I discovered this in a Japanese restaurant.
Oh, that's right. They do that in Japanese restaurants. I have to tell you, lately, that's my dessert. It's a clementine or something.
Yeah, clementines and maybe some candied ginger. So I'm making bowls. I cut a bit too much off that one. You cut the ends off the orange, and then you cut 2 drums. You go in with your knife and remove, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, cut the center out, just like that, come on. Voila. And you put, this one's I took a bit too much, but then you make a plug in the orange.
Oh, wow.
So you get a little bowl. Now, usually I would do, so one is for 2 people. Set out a big platter of a whole bunch of these, and then you candied ginger, maybe some praline or some nougat or something. Yeah. And it gives something fresh, and people can pick and choose. So you've got your bowls, and then you cut the oranges into manageable pieces. And I think this is a way of considering how just putting a little effort into something to change how it looks and feels is happiness making. You see, I think even just seeing something in a new light is delightful and lightens you up. So I think all those ways are ways that food can make you happy, but it doesn't exhaust the list because it's long.
I just want to ask one question. You have this idea that I find very interesting of kitchen as a sacred space.
I think I increasingly feel that a kitchen is a sacred place and a place to move in, not with haste and not, we always see in the media, everybody's rushing and slapping things and ripping at things, but I think the energy we put out and the way we keep our kitchens clean and organized, it all comes back to how the energy the space gives us, and it changes how we go out into the world. So I'm becoming quite zen about these things.
Lovely.
Chef and author Laura Calder, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
There's more joy after the break. Don't go away.